Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So how do you usually practice to playing a keyboard?
I usually practice with my teacher in my home.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, welcome back to another episode of MTsB podcast. Kita nih cakap. So, for today's episode, let me introduce myself first. My name is Shafira Ilena again, and I'm from 8.6. So I'm here with my friend.
My name is Hilmy from 8.1.
My name is Shafiya Ramadhan from class 8.1 as well.
So, guys, what we'll talk about for today's episode?
Well, today we're going to talk about the month of Ramadan, but to be more specific, we're going to talk about how to utilize the month of Ramadan as a place to improve ourselves to be a better person.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting, but I want to ask 8 basic questions, and most of you guys, I think, already know about this, but what is actually the definition of fasting during Ramadan?
Sure. So fasting is refraining ourselves from everything that can break the fast, accompanied by the intention from our heart. Fasting is one of the obligate worship that should be do as a Muslim who has met the requirement. The first is Muslim people, after that intelligent, mature, and not in menstruation or in childbirth condition.
Okay, then I want to ask you guys a personal questions. Do you guys feel like there's a different fasting Ramadan from the previous year?
Yes, that's for sure. Because as we know, on this month of Ramadan, all of the students of MTs Bilingual Muslimat and Upujang, they have to spend the most of their time doing really hard activities at school, right? For example, we have to get up and go to school in the morning. We have to do a lot of work in our class too. And we finish our school during daytime, which the tender tends to be very hot.
Yeah.
So it's easier for us to feel very hot as well when we're on our way to go back to home. In another word, we need to maintain our lust and emotion properly too by prohibiting ourselves from eating any foods and drinks during daytime if we weren't in any emergency situations. And we also need to distance ourselves from doing sinful things that might break our fast.
Okay, beside that reason, I want to ask another reason why we have to control our lust and emotions.
Okay, sure. So as we know that fasting is one of the worship that can give us many benefit, but the benefit is just we can receive the benefit if we are really implementing what is the definition of fasting is. The fasting is not just prohibit ourselves from food, from eating the food or drinking, but also from paying emotion or doing the last thing. If we are consistent to do the good thing or worship in fasting, we will, of course, our worship will be multiplied by our the reward. Also, I think it will be worse if we are just fulfill our fasting with sinful thing.
Okay, then you said that it's about discipline, right? Then what is the main reason why we have to discipline ourselves, especially during Ramadan? Why is it Ramadan?
Why? Well, I strongly believe that the month of Ramadan is just that perfect moment. There is no other better time or opportunity other than the month of Ramadan because it's a month of self-mindfulness, self-purification, and self-reflection. And despite these opportunities, the month of Ramadan also tests our ability to remain as a good servant because it requires a lot of great physical, mental, and spiritual ability to help us pass successfully to regain our consciousness toward Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and ultimately earn His Jannah and pleasure. So yeah, in conclusion, I think that Ramadan is just that perfect moment for us.
Okay, then I think it's kind of perfect that if we apply it, not only you but the other people too, like who's watching right here. Then could you please, one of you, both of you guys, tell us what is the tips and trick to discipline yourself during Ramadan?
Well, for me, I have some kind of foolproof way that needs to be implemented whenever we enter the month of Ramadan. So first of all, you don't need to view Ramadan as a burden just because you need to do things without eating drinks and food, just because we need to control our emotion and lust. Because if we just think of it as an opportunity to learn, then whatever the failure is, whatever the mistake is, it won't define us as a person. And if we just think of it as an opportunity to learn, it will help us to remain our positive thoughts. So whenever we need to do a lot of hard things during fasting, our mind and body won't even have time to complain about it anymore. Our mind will just automatically say just do it.
Yeah. Then how about you?
Maybe some tips from me. Maybe in the fasting, when we are fasting in Ramadan, we can try to be nicer to other people. Just see from ourselves first. Does our speaking is hurting each other, or does when we are we are insulting another people? Maybe it's not directly, but the another people can get sick because of our speaking. Start from doing the small thing, or maybe when we are find our friend that are getting difficulties, and we can help them with from our abilities. We can maybe help them, and we should trust that whenever if we are always consistent to do good to another people, it will be multiplied by our the reward, and also by doing that, another people will of course follow ourselves to do goodness to another people too.
Okay.
And the last thing that we can do is to be gracious as much as possible during the Ramadan. You don't even need to donate money. You can try to brighten someone's day by giving a smile or giving a few kind words. And you can try to give it back to others by being kind and being patient. So it's really that easy. And remember, this is the month of Ramadan. So we need to be the best sort of person that we can be. You can try to tip service workers and consider giving food to the homeless. And then the next thing that we can do is to remain positive energy in everything that we do.
So the conclusion is simple things are matters for the other.
Yes.
And I think that's all for today's episode. Thank you for watching until this time. And I think that's all for today's episode.
Yes.
And thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.